Hey guys, what's going on? I want to welcome you back to the channel. Well, it's done. We've done our upgrades to the PT111 Millennium G2. We put in a Lakeline llc guide rod spring combo and a set of Trijicon night sights that were all purchased from Lakeline llc. And we're going to take this to the range. We're going to run at a minimum 100 rounds through the PT111 to see how reliable it is. Really, there's three reasons why I want to take this pistol to the range with these modifications. One, obviously, is going to be reliability. Is the gun going to cycle properly? Is it going to fire properly? I'm going to take out two different kinds of just basic budget price bulk ammo, some Federal Champion with brass, and also some Winchester white box brass, which really I don't shoot that much of, but I think it might be kind of nice to have a couple different types of ammo to run through it. Two, we're going to check and see how the recoil actually feels. Okay, we're going to see if I notice any kind of a difference between the upgraded spring, and then we'll stop and take a break, swap out springs. We'll put the old recoil spring guide rod combo back in there and see if I notice any kind of a perceived difference. And the third thing that we're going to do is we're going to be checking for that accuracy. Is there going to be much accuracy difference between the stock guide rod and the upgraded Lakeline guide rod? Will I mean, could it cause the gun to buck in a sort of different way? Will it give me better control? So, I mean, this isn't going to be the most thorough professional test, but what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fire 6 rounds at 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet, 40 feet, like I always do. And then what we'll do is swap out the springs, and we'll do 6 rounds at 10, 20, 30, 40. And I'm going to do it a little bit differently this time. Instead of announcing the distances before each target, I'm going to have the camera set up so that you can see all 4 targets. And when you see me do the mag change in the little picture-in-picture, then you know I'm basically going, 10, 20, 20 to 30. That's going to be the mag change. So you're going to see me do 2 sets of targets, one at 30 and one at 40 feet, and we'll be all set. So that'll help us get through the testing a little bit quicker, and it'll give us a chance. And I will go ahead and take the camera and just walk across, and we'll take a look at the targets. So if you can't see them very good, I'm going to zoom in as much as I can. I'm practically going to be shooting across the camera. So yeah, if you happen to see the camera turn off, then you know something went very wrong. But anyway, I am kind of curious. I've only done one guide rod spring combo in my life. I swapped out I put in a Galloway unit in a Smith & Wesson SD9 VE that was giving me fits with failure to return the battery and failure to eject. And so that really took care of the problem. That fixed it. So again, we're going to see how these aftermarket parts are working in the end. And again, we've got those Trijicon sights on there, those sweet night sights. Okay. There we go. And again, if you saw my install video, you saw how those turned out, and I'm very happy with the quality of them. They feel solid, secure. They should not be moving. And by the way, if you haven't watched that video yet, I did put a little pointer out in the notes. You want to make sure you put just a dab of thread locking compound on that rear screw. Nothing against Lakeline. Okay, the instruction manual is great, but it wasn't really clear that I needed to put a dab on the screw, just the way that the instructions read, and me talking you guys through it and so on. But it's not the end of the world, but you just want to make sure you do that so you don't lose that rear spring or that rear screw. And remember, that rear screw is not there to hold the rear sight in place on this particular gun. It's just simply there, okay? Because on the other gun, it's actually used to keep the plastic sights in place. So there you go, guys. All right, so we're going to go ahead and check out that range footage, and then we're going to shoot some iron for a little while and have a little bit of fun. Like I said, I'm going to run some Winchester white box and also some Federal. We're probably going to run the Winchester first. And one of the reasons why I'm using such a low-cost ammo is because a lot of people that buy this gun, they may not want to spend a lot of money on a handgun. They might buy this as a truck gun or as their only carry weapon and so on. And so they may only just be practicing with just, the least expensive ammo they can buy. I didn't want to go steel case, and I didn't want to go too cheap, but I'm also not, blowing the bank on what I'm spending. Now, I do keep Hornady Critical Defense in this all the time. That's basically the self-defense round. So there you have it, guys. All right, so we're going to go ahead and check out that range footage. So again, 10, 20, 30, 40 feet, just groups of 6. When you see me swap over mags, then you know that I'm going to be going to 20 and 30 feet like I said before. So there you go, guys. All right, so hey, thanks for checking it out, and we will go ahead and get started. Decent group, 10 feet, a little low. Decent group, 20 feet, not bad. 30 feet, a little low and to the left. This is Winchester White Box LLC guide rod. 40 feet, a little all over the place. I'm pretty much aiming center, dead smack right in the center, and we're still shooting a little bit low. All right, let's move on over to the factory guide rod.
Shut up and sit down. And sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Okay guys, so this was back with the factory guide rod. As you can tell, I think I shot a better group. The gun definitely had some different characteristics at 10 feet. I don't know, it looked like maybe I had a little bit tighter grouping than that first round that I was shooting. 20 feet, I'm shooting about the same, a little bit of a pull and load to the left. 30 feet, a few on and a few to the bottom left. This was still more accurate than what I shot with the Lakeline spring. And then at 40 feet, I kept all 6 of them on the paper. Now, what I will say, okay, real quick, we did have a failure to fire, okay? And on the second strike, it did not go off. I didn't do any kind of a tactical, quick clearing of the chamber and so on. I wanted to let it sit for a second or two to make sure it was not going to go off. I was trying to be careful. I waited in about 10 seconds before I pulled the round out, and then went ahead and just sat it on the ground, and it did not fire. I am going to try to fire this one more time, and if it does happen to go off, great. If not, then it's going to go bye-bye. I'm going to put a few more rounds through the Lakeline off camera. I'm going to continue shooting. I'm just going to shoot 10 feet on this target. It definitely has some different characteristics to it than what we have with the factory guide rod spring. I like the authority with which the new Lakeline spring snaps on when it's charging itself, as it cycles. I think it definitely has a little more force. Recoil-wise, it feels about the same, but you got to realize I'm so accustomed to putting rounds through the stock guide rod that I definitely need to practice now. I'm going to be using the Lakeline unit from here on out, simply because if you look around on YouTube, there are people that have had problems with their guide rods. Basically, the front coil skips over the back of the lip, and it basically locks up the firearm. That's not going to happen with the Lakeline unit. The Lakeline unit is much more sturdy construction, so that's what I'm going to go with. So, I don't know, maybe we'll just put the camera on it one more time, and I'm just going to we're going to do another 24 rounds on this target, 10 feet with the Lakeline. Obviously, these are already pre-marked, and I just want to see, kind of how it shoots, because it seems to have a little bit different kind of shot pattern than the factory guide rod, and it should, because it's not a factory part. All right, so we're just going to show me do 24 rounds through this target at 10 feet. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Travis PT111 and we are back from the range early, unfortunately. I took 250 rounds with me. I had 100 rounds of Federal Brass, 100 rounds of Winchester White Box, and 50 rounds of Federal Aluminum. Gun ran great. Gun ran great. Yeah, I got through about 100 rounds. The only issue I ran into, and this is entirely on me, okay, this is not Lakeline's problem, loose front sight. Okay, about every 2 magazines, I had to retighten the screw. And after that third set of magazines, after I was about 100 rounds in, I said, you know what, I'm going to stop because I don't want to wear the screw out. I don't want to strip it. I don't want to over tighten it and break the vial. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to take the screw off. I'm going to put more thread locking compound on it than I did before. Obviously clean the parts off, clean everything up. And we'll go ahead and retighten the screw, and then we'll head out again later on for maybe an iron shoot. What I can tell you about the firearm itself, it did have a different kind of shooting characteristic to it. Rear sight is fine. Rear sights are solid, no problems there. It definitely, you know, I wouldn't say it felt snappier. You just felt like you were maybe in a little bit more control when you were using it with the new guide rod. Now, granted, I was more accurate with the old guide rod because that's what I've shot hundreds and hundreds of rounds on. I just immediately felt comfortable with it. This is going to take me a little bit of a learning curve to get used to how it fires. The sights were, you know, I tend to shoot low and to the left with this pistol like a lot of people, but I think it's entirely my grip. The sights are as centered as they possibly can be. If the gun's shooting off at all, it's going to be strictly on the gun itself and not the sights themselves. So you get a little bit of powder going on there, huh? Just proof that we did shoot this thing. Yeah, so when you're watching the footage there, you know, you saw me do the 2 different sets of distances with once with the Lakeline guide rod and then also with the stock guide rod. And then after that, we came back and just I wanted to do 24 rounds, 10 feet, just wanted to learn and feel where the gun was going to shoot. Okay, I just wanted to get that practice. So that's what you saw in that third set of footage there. Basically, I pretty much have to aim, you know, your front sight in the middle of the bullseye. I'm so used to maybe resting the bullseye on top of the front sight because the recoil just naturally kind of centers it. But for this one, yeah, you definitely want to shoot at the center of whatever you want to hit. That's where you need to shoot. Also, guys, definitely practice a lot more with gloves on. I just had a little bit of difficulty firing the weapon. You're really feeling like I had good trigger control with the gloves on that I was wearing, but that's just the reality of living in a cold weather area. You know, you're going to have to deal with that in the future. So definitely practice a lot with some kind of shooting gloves, thin gloves. You've got good space, but you know, with when you've got your winter gloves on, it's going to be a little more limited. So that's something to keep in mind. Overall, I'm definitely going to give the Lakeline guide rod 2 thumbs up. The guide rod itself is in perfect condition. The sights are fine, 2 thumbs up on the sights, but just use a little more thread locking compound than you think you will, because I think it'll definitely make a difference in keeping those front screws in place. The guide rod is just perfect. And also, I did a little research on what it is the problem is that people were having with this guide rod from Taurus, the factory guide rod. What happens is that rear coil, it pops off the lip and then it causes the firearm to jam. And so that's something that you want to watch out for. That's why I highly recommend an upgraded unit. Apparently, some other dude made a comment on one of my videos, and he said the PT140s come with 100% stainless steel guide rod unit. So maybe Taurus is being a little preemptive in that gun, and they're just upgrading right out of the box. But yeah, this is in perfect condition. It's dirty. Like I said, I'm going to get this all cleaned up, and then I'm going to put some Loctite on those threads. So overall, I highly recommend the parts. I think you should add them to the firearm, especially if you're going to be daily carrying this pistol. Do make sure that you use enough thread lock on the front and the rear screw, as well as the rear sight, so that nothing moves when you install it. Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was fun shooting. I was just a little disappointed I didn't get to fire the other 150 rounds I brought with me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I could have if I had kept tightening that screw, but man, I thought to myself, if I keep doing that, I'm going to wear the threads out, or I'm going to wear out whatever. So I just didn't think it was worth it. So I'm going to go ahead and get that taken care of, and we'll take it out for an iron shoot later on. So anyway, guys, I want to thank you for joining me today. Again, you can check me out over on Twitter and Instagram and also on Facebook. You can check me out over on gunchannels.com with the Ordinary Average Guy Gun Channel / Travis PT111. And I think that about does it. So I'm happy with the upgrades for right now. Don't know if I'm going to do anything else to this firearm. If you check out Jay Dalton's channel, the man is a G2 guru, all right? He's got a great video on how to do a trigger job. I may do it because this is the kind of pistol where if I mess something up, I'm not going to feel like I ruined the gun because it's a relatively inexpensive pistol. So I might do my first trigger job following his step-by-step directions on the video, and I'll try to put a link to that video at the end of this video. Otherwise, guys, I think that's about it, so stay tuned. We got more range tests coming up for you. We definitely need to take all the rifles out onto the lead sled solo and see how they perform. PT111 Millennium G2, again, if you buy it, just drop the extra 40 bucks and get yourself the stainless steel guide rod at a minimum. There's nothing wrong with the stock sights, but night sights, I mean, it's really hard to argue with the advantage that night sights are going to give you in a low light or dark situation. So, you know, for some of you, that might push the price of the gun up to $300, $320 when you add those additions. That's still relatively inexpensive, in my opinion, for a solid, reliable firearm with 2 double stack mags. So there you go, guys. All right, so guys, I want you to have fun. I want you to be safe. All right, stay tuned, like or subscribe. And as always, we will talk to you soon. All right, thanks for watching.